Heracleion was once the heartbeat of ancient Egypt, a vibrant city that stood at the crossroads of culture, religion, and commerce. It was a place where gods were worshipped, merchants from distant lands traded valuable goods, and the wealth of Egypt flowed in and out of its bustling harbor. For centuries, Heracleion played a pivotal role in the prosperity of Egypt and was revered as one of the greatest cities of its time. But then, as if in the blink of an eye, it vanished, without a trace, without an explanation. For over 1,000 years, the world would believe that Heracleion was just a myth, a story passed down through the ages. But what if I told you that in the year 2000, archaeologists made a groundbreaking discovery uncovering the remains of this lost city beneath the waves? What if I told you that the mystery of Heracleion is far from over, and what we've uncovered so far is only the beginning of a story that still raises questions we may never answer? Before we dive deeper into this astonishing discovery, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and like the video if you enjoy exploring the hidden secrets of the past. And I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think caused the fall of Heracleion? Could a modern city face the same fate? Heracleion, also known as Thanis in ancient Egyptian texts, was located on the Mediterranean coast, not far from the Nile River Delta. The city was once the gateway to Egypt, where merchants from across the Mediterranean came to trade goods, and where Egyptian priests and officials carried out important religious ceremonies. Heracleion wasn't just a port city, it was a thriving metropolis. It was a center of culture, religion, and power, housing grand temples and colossal statues dedicated to gods like Ammon and Heracles. The city was famous for its role as a trading hub, linking Egypt with Greece, Phoenicia, and other parts of the Mediterranean. Ships arriving at the bustling harbor carried everything from precious metals and exotic spices to fine linen and pottery. The wealth and power of Heracleion were unrivaled, and for centuries, it was one of Egypt's most important cities. But despite its prosperity, Heracleion's fate would soon take a dark turn. Heracleion was described in ancient texts as a thriving city, and its importance to Egypt cannot be overstated. It was the place where Egypt's most important trade routes met with the wider world, and it was home to some of Egypt's most significant religious sites. It had a massive port where merchant ships docked, unloading goods that would be sold throughout the region. But the true significance of Heracleion wasn't just its wealth, it was the spiritual heart of Egypt's connections with the Mediterranean world. The grand temples, filled with statues and inscriptions, honored gods and kings, establishing the city as a center for ancient Egyptian religion. Yet, for all its significance, Heracleion fell into oblivion. It was forgotten for centuries, and when it was mentioned at all, it was only in the most vague and mythical contexts. How could a city so important simply disappear? How could one of Egypt's most powerful centers vanish without leaving a trace? For over 1,000 years, the fate of Heracleion remained a mystery. Scholars and archaeologists were left with only fragments of information. Ancient texts mentioned the city, but no one knew where it had been located. Many believed that Heracleion was just a myth, a legend of a city that had never really existed. Others speculated that it had been destroyed in a natural disaster, but no one could explain why it had been lost to history. Then, in 2000, a team of archaeologists led by Frank Gaudio made an astonishing discovery off the coast of Egypt. Underwater excavations revealed the remains of a city that had been submerged for over 1,000 years. Among the wreckage, archaeologists found colossal statues of Egyptian gods, huge stone blocks from temples, and artifacts like gold coins and jewelry, evidence that pointed to a city once as powerful and wealthy as any in ancient Egypt. The city, as it turned out, was Heracleion, and it wasn't lost to time by accident. It had been swallowed by the sea. The question now was, how had this happened? How could a city that had once been so grand and powerful simply sink beneath the waves? The answers remain unclear, but what we do know is that the discovery of Heracleion has opened up a window into a lost world, revealing secrets that had been hidden for over 1,000 years. Heracleion was not the only city to face such a fate. Across the world, ancient cities have disappeared without a trace, cities that once thrived and prospered, only to be claimed by natural forces or lost to the sands of time. Yet, what makes Heracleion so unique is the sheer scale of its loss and the mystery surrounding it. Could something like this happen again? Could modern cities one day face the same fate? With rising sea levels and climate change threatening coastal cities across the world, the fall of Heracleion serves as a chilling reminder of how fragile our world can be. When the city was uncovered, divers and archaeologists discovered many astonishing artifacts, including massive stone statues of Egyptian gods, beautifully carved reliefs, and pottery that provided a glimpse into daily life in Heracleion. Among the most striking discoveries were the remains of ships that had once sailed the Mediterranean, their cargo still intact after all these centuries. The city, it seemed, had been well preserved beneath the sea. But how did it sink? Theories abound, ranging from natural disasters like earthquakes or tsunamis to the gradual effects of rising sea levels. Some researchers believe that Heracleion was built on unstable ground, and over time, the earth beneath it gave way, causing the city to sink. Others speculate that a massive earthquake triggered a chain of events that led to the city's downfall. Still, others think the city's location on the Nile Delta made it vulnerable to flooding, eventually submerging it beneath the waters. What we do know is that Heracleion's sudden disappearance left no immediate survivors. The city's importance faded from history, and it wasn't until the modern era that its existence was even taken seriously. The texts that mentioned Heracleion became nothing more than myths, and the stories of a once great city were dismissed as legends. Yet, the discovery of its remains beneath the sea has breathed new life into the story of Heracleion, and today, it stands as one of the most remarkable underwater discoveries of all time. The story of Heracleion is more than just the tale of a lost city. It is a story about the fragility of human civilization. It serves as a stark reminder that even the greatest cities and empires are vulnerable to the forces of nature. With rising sea levels and the looming threat of climate change, the fate of Heracleion could very well be the future of many modern cities. The rediscovery of Heracleion is a story of hope, of archaeological breakthroughs, and of the incredible persistence of those who seek to uncover the secrets of the past. It's a story of a city that was lost, found, and continues to reveal its mysteries. And as we continue to explore the site, who knows what other secrets are waiting to be uncovered?